Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a fabulous weekend. You guys, we have multiple large stories. Usually I just cover one or two stories, but today, all the way up until the end, there's big stories and lots of video footage. You know how I am. I like to bring the receipts. So let's jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off this morning. Do you guys remember the other day when King Charles and Queen Camilla went out and they saw a pie that was made to look like Charles? Well, somebody decided to make a pie that looks like Camilla, so very cute. Moving on. All right, next up we have Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She was with the Eric Little community, and that is a charity and community hub in Edinburgh that helps rent office spaces and deliver caring services for other charities. Well, they had a dinner in support of that charity at the beginning of July, and Princess Anne went. Mr. Little's eldest daughter, Patricia, who apparently lives in Canada, traveled all the way in to go to that dinner. Very nice. Now, sticking with Princess Anne, she went and met tall ships racers on what was the last full day of the Sailing Festival stay in Shetland. There are approximately 1,300 visiting crew members. Yes, a lot. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, it is 37 sailing ships from all around the world, and since Wednesday, they've been in an area called Lerwick. And this is for the Scottish leg of the races. So the fleet leaves Lerwick Harbor for the final leg of the race, which ends in Norway on Saturday morning. Now, this is the third time that Shetland hosted this event. Last time was in 1999 and then again in 2011. There's 100 sail trainees from Shetland that took place in this year's race. And the whole point of this is to encourage training for seamanship and international friendship. Now, half of the crew of each ship must consist of young people. The organizer of the races, her name is Vanessa Morey from Sail Training International, said that all the locals have been very welcoming. She also said that the islands, she gave a lot of praise to the islands for funding so many trainees, and they're saying to some of the locals there that hundreds of people have been coming through and they've been spending money, which is helping, the local economy, which is just fabulous. All right, moving on. All right, next up at the Horse Guards Parade, the Duke of Gloucester was met up with veterans from the UK and Korea and was also joined by serving soldiers at a remembrance service which marks 70 years since the end of the Korean War. The Duke of Gloucester laid a wreath, he gave a speech, he remembered the 81,000 people who served in the Korean War, including more than 1,000 British servicemen who were killed in action. Very nice service. Once again, I like the Duke of Gloucester. He just gets in there, does his job, does what he's supposed to do. All right, moving on. All right, let's move on to Catherine. Now, we know the Princess of Wales is on vacation right now, but that didn't stop this story from coming out. She has received a shout out from the UK Parliament. Yes, for her work on the Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood, which we know this is her baby. She's been working on it for 10 years, and it all came to fruition in June of 2021. So the Education Committee praised Catherine in the paper, stating, quote, "The Princess of Wales has done important work to raise the profile of the early years through her Royal Foundation Centre for Early Childhood." I love that. I love that she's finally getting recognition for all of her work. And of course, anybody who's been following the Princess of Wales knows that issues for children have always been a part of her charity work, always. All right, moving on. All right, this next story blew my mind. What happened was Prince William asked the people that run YouTube channel Sorted Food to make Earthshot burgers using products that the three Earthshot Prize winners in 2022 made. So ingredients for these burgers were grown in a quote unquote greenhouse in a box that was created by the company in India. It was cooked in a clean stove, which was designed in Kenya, and they were served in biodegradable cartons that were created in London. So apparently William was in the truck and he turned around and said, "Morning, everyone, nicely cooked, ready to go." He said the people were like, "What?" So the chefs on the truck created a, quote, potato-based spicy burger flavored with garlic, ginger, and chili with pickled vegetables served in a bun. And one of the diners said it took her brain 3 seconds to buffer. And she was like, "Am I dreaming? Have I had enough sleep?" Anyway, they put out a video on it. Because remember, William signed a deal with YouTube to promote the Earthshot Prize. And so there's a 14-minute video that was just put up. You guys need to go watch it. All right, moving on. Next up, I just want you to know that Lady Louise got her driver's license. She was seen driving in this really cute little blue car on her way to go carriage riding at Windsor. We all know that she got that from, Grandpa Philip. And yeah, I love her. Moving on. All right, let's move on now to Harry and Meghan. Now, we know that Charles and Camilla are going to continue the Queen's tradition of going every year to the house, or maybe I should say the castle at Balmoral. The whole family gets together, away from prying eyes, away from the press, away from the paparazzi. They let their hair down. They do family things, all this kind of stuff. Well, they're saying that, Harry and Meghan are probably going to miss out because they don't believe that the king is going to invite them. Well, there's been some developments on that end. Now, we do know that the last time Harry was there was right after the Queen passed away. We also know that the Prime Minister, Sunak, is going to be there, as well as Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson and, William and Catherine and the kids and Sophie and Edward and their children. It's going, and probably Camilla's children and maybe grandchildren. It's a big, area. So anyway, like I was saying, it came out that they were not invited. Supposedly, allegedly, Harry and Meghan were not invited, but come to find out, that's not true. Per Neil Sean, who we know is well connected, they absolutely were invited. And as a matter of fact, King Charles said, "And I want you to bring the children. I want to get to know my grandchildren. But there's a few stipulations. You're not allowed to bring your phones. You have to leave them at the door. You're not allowed to tape. You're not allowed to take notes. No private conversations. They're probably going to have to sign an NDA just to cross the threshold." So what do you think happened then? Harry and Meghan said, "Oh, well, the children are too young to go that far." Really? Really? You're really going to say they're too young? The truth is, because they can't get any information to use in the future, they're saying no thank you. Right. Not that it's the biggest information in the world, but that makes me wonder, what do the Sugars think when they realize that the king invited Harry, Meghan, and the kids, and they have snubbed the royal family? You can't say they're being mean and don't want anything to do with them. You know what I mean? All right, moving on. All right, this is kind of an old story, but let's go back to it. We know that David Beckham was really good friends with Harry before he met Meghan. We know that after they met and started dating, that Meghan asked Victoria Beckham for some freebies from her clothing line, and Victoria Beckham said no. She doesn't give freebies to anybody. She never has. So she told Meghan no. Now, almost immediately, Meghan went to Harry and said, "I think they're leaking stories about us." You know who was probably leaking the stories? Meghan. But anyway, she whined to Harry, and Harry called David Beckham up and accused his wife. He said, "I think your wife is leaking the stories. Victoria's leaking the stories." So David and Victoria Beckham ended up being invited to the wedding, but not the evening party. Well, David and Victoria Beckham's son recently got married. There was a big party, and Harry and Meghan were not invited to that, although Serena Williams was there and a lot of other big stars were there, but not Harry and Meghan. And more than recently, Argentina's Messi made his big debut for David's Inter Miami football team. Kim Kardashian was there. Serena Williams was there. There were a lot of big names there. They were all in the VIP boxes. Guess who wasn't there? Harry and Meghan. That's right. Now it's also coming out that George and Amal Clooney are no longer friends with Harry and Meghan, although they never really were friends. Remember, at the wedding, George said, we really don't know them. And instead, the two of them went to the Prince's Trust get-together that Charles was throwing. Yep. All right, this article I just wanted to touch on because it says that Harry and Meghan have a deluded, grandiose sense of self. And they're saying that, first, they have a very grandiose and deluded idea of their own status in the world. They think they're so high above everybody else. And secondly, they're impervious to the sensitivities of the situation they created when they stepped back as, working royals, but then fired bombs of allegations at the royal family from their California house. They're insensitive for asking President Biden for exclusive use of Air Force One. I mean, yes, we all know they're deluded. Moving on. All right, next up, I want to thank Yankee Wally for bringing this to my attention. I'd completely forgotten about this. This was during COVID. Harry was talking to these people about a virtual marathon. So just listen to him trying to carry on the conversation. I mean, just listen. These people are like, oh, my God.
Shorter?
I'm aiming for at least 5 hours.
Yeah. So you got 5 hours?
Yeah, 4 to 5 hours.
Depends if it's going to be this.
Yeah, it's gonna
is it going to be
Yeah,
this?
depending on the heat.
So everyone's taking part and calling it a marathon, a virtual marathon, but no one's actually counting it as officially a marathon.
This would have been my 6th world. Which would have...
I know you do all the training. I don't know how many half marathons. I don't even know. Do you do a marathon before actually running the marathon?
I did not reach marathon distance.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of long runs leading to this.
Unbelievable. I can't believe these people sat there. All right, let's move on to our next story. I have to retouch on this because once again, Harry and Meghan are just not going to let this go. They're telling people that there's an orchestrated hate campaign on both sides of the Atlantic, and that's why they didn't end up on the short list for the Emmys. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it was basically a hatchet job on the royal family that people love. It has nothing to do with the fact that they were shown that they put a lot of fake stuff in there. They put in pictures from like a Harry Potter premiere to make it look like they were being hounded by the paparazzi. I don't get it. I think maybe WME promised them an Emmy nomination and then it didn't come to fruition. Moving on. All right, next up, Bethany Frankel. You guys know I love her. She Say It As It Is, and she has an actual charity where 100% of all donations go to help people. And she has come out on Instagram. You know that when she said something about them previously, she got a call from Oprah, I believe it was. They threatened to cancel her. They threatened to do unbelievable things to her. And she is not one to be held back. And so she had something to say about these two. So listen to this. And FYI, I edited this down or you would have been sitting here for 5 minutes.
Because I can't imagine having so much at your fingertips and letting it all slip away because of living inside your own head and thinking every single thing that you do and say and want is so fascinating. I don't understand how this could be anyone's trajectory. How, like, you know how Forrest Gump did every single thing right just by like putting one foot in front of the other and going with instinct? This is like the opposite of Forrest Gump. How do you do every single thing wrong? Like, you're people without a country. God forbid they split up. They are all each other has. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Those poor children, what would happen? Like, they're estranged from their own families, both of their families. I've never seen a botch job like this in my life. Personally, professionally, I can't imagine going from hero to zero like that. You know, where are George and Amal? What happened to them? Where is David Beckham and Victoria Beckham? Where is Priyanka and the Jonas guy? Where are Serena? Where are all these people now? Like, where's Oprah? Where's Tyler Perry? Like, with these two grifters, right? Like, what in God's name? How do you screw something up so badly? Go away for a long time and basta and close the mouth. They got blocked from Gavin Newsom because they were aggressively pursuing a political career for her. Can you write this stuff? Is this even possible? The car chase, the Dior thing, like, what goes on? Losing Spotify, like, just quiet down for a really long time.
I totally agree with her. I mean, boom, drop the mic. All right, now before we get into our next big stories, we're going to look at some of your comments. When it comes to the whole equality thing, B1345 talks about all the things that she did and basically brings up the fact that Megan's trying to give women permission to do things that they're already doing. Susan 1447 also said she works in a male-dominated field. She went to school with men. Men were her study buddies. You know, you don't need anything else. And this subscriber pointed out Rosie the Riveter and how all the women took over the jobs from the men during World War II. That's absolutely true. They did. All right, let's move on now to some of our other bigger stories. All right, moving on. It's coming out now. They're saying that Harry and Meghan have a victim card and nobody wants to deal with them because it's alienating business partners. For instance, have you guys ever heard of the Procter & Gamble deal? And since they've been playing victim, have you guys heard anything else about the Procter & Gamble deal? The answer is no. We don't even know if the deal still exists because people are so sick of them playing victim. Ugh. All right, let's move on to our last big story. Now, I'm not sure why the whole Commonwealth service from 3 years ago came up again, but it did. So let's cover it. So what happened? They went back for the very last Commonwealth service and Meghan decided to wear this green thing with a cape, which was not the color that she was supposed to wear, but she didn't care. And as they're walking in, she says to Harry, "Smile." Now, there had been a big fight earlier because Harry and Meghan found out that they weren't in the procession going in. And so to make everybody happy, William and Catherine agreed to go take their seats and not do the procession with the Queen because Harry still wanted to be seen as Prince Harry. He wanted to walk in the procession. So they walked in, William and Catherine walked in and ignored Harry and Meghan. And then it was very obvious that there was a lot of tension between Meghan and Sophie. And one of the reasons that there was a lot of tension was because Sophie had tried to help Meghan and Meghan had basically rebuffed her. Now, obviously, we all know that during this service, Harry looked sad at times. He looked absolutely livid mad at times. The only person who seemed happy was Meghan, who had this Cheshire cat smile on her face. So anyway, they're sitting there the whole time. The only person who spoke to them was Edward. And it was pretty obvious that Sophie wasn't happy about Edward speaking to them, but you know, whatever. So they're sitting there and they caught eyes, right? Watch this. Here it is closer up. Sophie's about to look, and Meghan catches her eye, boom, drops her eyes and starts talking to Harry. Now, Harry, during this entire process, just looks so angry. But here comes the worst part. So Harry and Meghan decided instead of walking out in order, they weren't walking out behind Edward and Sophie. Oh, hell no. And as soon as the service ended, watch this. They literally pushed the chairs aside to get behind William and Catherine so that they could be behind them walking down the aisle. Let me show you that again a little closer up. Look to your left. They push their way through the chairs so that they can be behind William and Catherine in the walk out. I'm telling you guys, and then Harry looks miserable the whole way down the aisle. All right, you guys. Once again, lots of information. I want those comments. Make them good because you know I'm watching them, okay? Don't forget to leave those comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you've already hit the button, double check. Make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to go into the description box and get the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, and a physical address just in case there's something you want to send. For those of you who donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.